Hello, Mary. Thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the construction industry?
Yeah, sure. I'm Mary Ayeni. I'm a digital construction manager, and I've been in the construction industry for just over 5 years now. Um, so yeah, I look at 3D models, do clash detection, and things like that.
Fantastic, fantastic. What does digital construction actually mean?
So digital construction is just, in plain simple terms, looking at the built environment in a 3D sense. So we're looking at
Mhm.
um, models and using digital technologies to kind of advance the construction industry as a whole.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. And did you always know that you wanted to work in this field?
Absolutely not. It was definitely something I fell
Mhm.
into. I studied architecture engineering at Loughborough University, so I always thought that I was going to go down the architect's route to become a
Mm,
qualified architect or a design manager. But I think during my university course, I did a placement year, so a year in industry as a design manager at a consultancy, and I think it was from then that I knew that the architectural world or design management world wasn't for me. So I kind of stumbled across building information modeling. And so I studied that as a master's. So I got a master's degree in BIM. And yeah, that's basically how I kind of fell into the digital world and been working in it ever since.
okay, okay. Now, BIM involves a lot of technology. How would you say technology is changing the way buildings are designed, built, and delivered?
So I would say that, digital technologies definitely makes the process a lot more efficient and coordinated. I think that's definitely
Mhm.
something we've struggled with as an industry as a whole, especially for comparing ourselves to other industries. I think we're quite behind, but I think with the digital technologies that we're currently using, I feel like it's enhancing the process and streamlining the way that we do things. So things are, better managed, there's less risks out on site. We're saving materials. So in terms of pushing the sustainability agenda, I think that's definitely helped with the whole process. So yeah, I think the advancement of the digital tools and technologies in the construction world, I think is definitely benefiting us as a whole, not just us as the digital team, but the entire industry.
Yeah, what's the most exciting technology would you say is around today that's currently being used
Um,
in construction?
So one thing I've seen recently were robot dogs. So on some of my projects, we're starting to look at getting some robot dogs to do some laser scanning.
Okay.
So again, that takes out the human element because laser scans can take quite a while to execute. So having robot dogs on site is also another advancement in technology that I found really cool. I didn't think when I first started that I'd be seeing robo dogs on site. So yeah, it's really
Yeah, I think
interesting.
it's even gone beyond that now. It's definitely gone beyond that because they've started using humanoids.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I saw an article where they've actually started using humanoids on site. So yeah, quadrupeds are already a thing of the past. So yeah,
Yeah,
things are
see,
advancing pretty fast.
advancing. Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
You said something about sustainability earlier. How does this technology help to reduce waste and protect the environment?
That's a good question. I think, during the process of, our role in the industry, a lot of what we do is, you know, detecting issues before they get onto site. So a lot of it is preventative measures. So in a way that kind of helps with the sustainability of the projects as
Mm,
we tend to have less rework. So we're able to resolve issues before they get to site and before things are built. So that
yeah,
way we're not finding clashes or issues on site and having to rip them out and rebuild, which essentially waste time and resources. So yeah, I definitely think our role streamlines that process and helps push the sustainability agenda.
Okay, and do you find that on site people are open to using this technology? They can see the benefits.
I'd say it's a bit of a yes and no.
Mm,
Naturally, as human beings, I think we're quite resistant to change. And the industry is full of, young talent, but it's also mixed with, old souls. So people that have been
yeah,
in an
indeed.
industry for years and years, so they're kind of used to the way that they've been doing things for a while, especially if they find that the way they've been doing things has worked for them in the past. They're quite
Mm,
resistant to take on new ways and think like processes that may help them or their work become more efficient. But I think because,
yeah,
there's loads of new talent coming into the industry, they're able to show or, demonstrate the benefits of implementing those digital processes and technologies. And I think
mm,
once we have those people on board, it's a lot easier for the old souls to kind of get on board with what we're trying to, change in the industry. So it's not necessarily getting rid of their jobs, but it's making their
yeah,
jobs a lot more efficient. And,
yeah,
we're not wasting a lot of time doing a lot of rework, it streamlines the
indeed,
process
indeed.
a lot
And
more.
that's a key thing, isn't it? It is making them understand that it's not that this technology is here to take away their jobs. It's
Yeah.
about, working alongside them, enhancing them, and helping them to do their jobs better.
Exactly, exactly. We take away that fear from them and kind of because
Yeah,
they're essentially still in control. It's not like, yeah, like
indeed,
you said, then it's not taking over their role. They're still in control of how much or how little these digital technologies affects their day to day. But again, it's just there as an option to, advance and enhance their jobs.
Okay, so what skills would you say are most important for young people who want to work in the construction industry?
I would say one of the most important is communication. Communication is so key. You're going to be communicating with different stakeholders, such as the design team, architects. You're going to be communicating with the client or client representatives, or even just your general team members. Having communication skills or really effective communication skills can definitely help, with how you communicate your point across or even getting the site team to even buy into the digital processes that
Indeed.
you're trying to implement. You have to you have to be able to communicate that. Um, I think another skill that I think is really important is problem solving.
Mm,
A large part of our role is being able to identify issues before they get to site. So through the identifying process, you're going to need to find ways to find solutions to problems that you have found quite quickly. Because again, with the
mm,
construction program, things work and go so fast that you have to be able to think quickly on your feet and things like that. So yeah,
indeed,
problem
indeed.
solving is another important skill I think one needs.
And as we're talking about technology, do you think would you say you need to be good at math and science to work in BIM or as a digital construction manager?
No, absolutely not. I think there are different strong suits and different strong points because I definitely wasn't the brightest when
Yeah,
it
no, that
came
was
to science and maths. So I think there are different skill sets that, the job role requires. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be, an expert in science or maths. Yes, it is beneficial, but, you know, those sets aren't essential. There's other ways to get into the industry, definitely.
Okay, so looking into your crystal ball, what do you think technology will change in construction over the next 10 years?
Um, I think it will definitely make things a lot easier. So, as we've seen over the time scale that we've had or been in construction ourselves, the processes that we have followed from the start has kind of changed till now. So I do think that things like the program may be reduced because of the enhancements of digital technologies or the amount of money spent on a project um, may reduce, and we're able to build faster and quicker to a higher quality or standard.
Mhm.
So I think that's definitely where I see the industry going in the next 10 years. We'll be able to cut or reduce the time taken to build, but also not compromising on quality.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Um, Now we have to talk about AI.
Yeah,
That's one thing that's
naturally.
slowly encroaching um, on the industry as well as other industries, of course. How do you think this will impact construction?
Um, so I think AI is going to be embedded in a lot of what we do.
Mm,
I mean, we use it in our day to day, even if it isn't, you know, the main aspect of what we do, but we kind of use artificial intelligence to enhance what we do, or making sure that we're not spending too long um, doing manual processes when we can automate it using artificial intelligence. So I do think it will definitely enhance the already um, innovation that we're trying to kind of add to the construction industry. I think it will just um, make sure that we get there faster, especially when we're comparing ourselves to different industries as well.
mm. When talking of AI, what sort of jobs do you think will exist in the future that don't exist today? What new opportunities will it bring, do you think?
Um, that is a good question. I'm not really too sure, to be honest, because I'm
Mm,
sure, like, if we're really thinking about it, when I was in, or when I first started in maybe secondary school, um, I'm sure the construction industry rarely had any digital construction managers, to the point where
mm,
I think those that were in the industry at that time didn't even think that a role like that would even come into existence. So I think it would just create a new, you know, field of opportunity to enhance the construction industry as a whole that we may not necessarily think about now. We may
mm,
have like artificial intelligent construction managers, or I don't know, like just different opportunities, to be honest.
mm. And speaking of secondary school, if you could go back and speak to the younger Mary Ayeni in year seven,
Yeah.
what piece of advice would you give your younger self?
I would say, you know, um, there's still time. You don't have to make any concrete or hard fixed decisions right now.
Mm,
And also, you don't necessarily have to go through the traditional route. There are so many opportunities that will open up for
indeed.
you as you kind of progress through education and things like that. So, yeah, like no pressure at all to feel like you have to decide what you want to be in 10 years time at 12 or 11. So yeah, no pressure.
That's very inspiring. So while you're there, please give us some advice to my younger self as well.
No,
What's
definitely.
what's the most rewarding part of your career, Mary?
um ooh, I would say when people actually understand what you do, um
Mm,
because I feel like digital technologies and digital processes a lot of people are still trying to get their head around it, especially because a lot of the roles in construction are still quite traditional. So when someone actually takes the time to understand the ins and outs of my role to help their
yeah.
role, I think that makes it that much more rewarding for me, because it means that the efforts that I'm putting in to streamline and make the works on site or just in general more efficient, it means that my time isn't wasted because there's someone actually wanting to implement those changes and enhance the industry as well.
And why should young people in general be excited about careers in the construction industry?
I think it's because there's so many opportunities. I think when people think of construction, the first thing they think what comes to mind is like you're actually out on site building, whereas that isn't the case. There
Yeah,
is so many opportunities. You can work in, like myself, digital construction. There's so many. You can be a business analyst. Like there's so many different roles in construction that aren't necessarily anything to do with being on site building. So yeah, the opportunities are endless.
again, that kind of answers my next question, but I'll throw it out anyway. What opportunities do you think digital construction will create for the next generation?
I think it will make hmm, I'm trying to think what opportunities will digital construction bring in the future. I think yeah, it will just open up, doors for um better ways of doing things. So maybe enhancing the traditional roles that we currently have in the industry and making them more digital focused or yeah, making them more digitally inclined to also, enhance the way that they take out or carry out their roles. Um,
Yeah,
but it doesn't necessarily have to be, traditional. It can be something more enhanced or streamlined.
yeah, and that is a key term, enhance, not replace.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, and on that very reassuring note, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.